A night of excitement and a bit of controversy here at UFC 210 from the KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. Mike Straw alongside Showdown Joe from Fightful.com. And Joe, we'll start with the main event. Daniel Cormier retaining the light heavyweight title. But the big story here is Rumble Johnson announcing his retirement right after the loss. What do you make from this?
I don't know. I tried to find out from AJ exactly what he's planning on doing. There are kind of these silly rumors that he's trying out for the Rams or something like that. He's denied that. I don't know what it is just yet. There was a question asked at the press conference that potentially it might be something to do with the dog rule, and he laughed it off, saying, because obviously he's a huge advocate of pit bulls and loves dogs, loves his puppies, but he basically said that he's not Cesar Millan, so that ain't going to be happening anytime soon. The real question in that fight, in my opinion, Mike, was just Anthony's game plan. It didn't make sense. Tons of speculation that his corners, apparently the audio was on his corner mic, or the mics, the audio on the mics from his corner, that they were yelling and saying, "What are you doing? Stop, 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 stop." And then he just went silent as he couldn't figure out exactly what he was doing. Rumors are out there that he'd already checked out. There were some crazy hashtags on Twitter that are on social media that were going on about Anthony having no heart and stuff like that. So just strange, just very weird.
You bring that up, and one of the things I noticed walking over here after the fights and just hearing the concourse was the idea that, yeah, he checked out, he wasn't really in it, and it kind of showed right off the bat with him going in trying to wrestle a guy where everybody knows it's not the brightest thing to do against a guy like DC.
Yeah, it was shades of when Miesha Tate fought Ronda Rousey the second time. Miesha was doing okay in that fight. She was doing pretty good standing, and the next thing you know, decides to go for the takedown. She said it was all about surprising Ronda. It didn't make sense to me. Over the years of me covering mixed martial arts, I can't even tell you how many fights I've seen where fighters have just had strange game plans that have cost them, and then I'm sitting alongside some of the media, and we're all looking at each other going, did that just happen? Tonight was another case of a weird situation with Anthony Johnson deciding to wrestle Daniel Cormier, and I know Anthony's a wrestler, but he's a far better striker.
And you see Anthony Johnson, he hits another shot at DC, comes up short, he's leaving the octagon. What is his legacy as a guy that just comes across a guy with so much potential that just never could tap into that for him?
Well, I think his legacy, when it's all said and done, people can say whatever they want tonight, that he's got no heart and that he checked out the fights. His legacy will go down as one of the most devastating knockout artists in sports history. This guy here, when he touched you, chances are you were going to sleep. And that's what he's going to be remembered for. It's the haters that are going to say all the stuff that they say about him. So it won't bother him, because obviously if he's leaving the sport for something else, two things come to mind. A, he made it pretty clear. If you read between the lines, he basically said that, you know what, I'm not taking any more concussive blows. When the NFL thing came up, he said, why would I leave mixed martial arts to go compete in a sport that takes the same type of head trauma, just in a different way? So he's probably leaving for something that's financially feasible, that'll pay him some pretty good money. And you can get paid pretty good money right now. So you think we can speculate all we want. Hopefully, within a week or so, he'll let the cat out of the bag.
Moving on to the co-main event, where a lot of the controversy of the night stood was Mousasi versus Weidman. And Mousasi getting the TKO after referee stoppage. Many thought it was an error. Turned out to be legal knees. Many thought Weidman getting the 5 minutes wasn't allowed, or the fight should have been restarted. No matter what we heard in the post-fight press conferences and throughout all the rumblings, no one really seems to even now know what the hell is going on.
So the first thing that happened after that is a lot of the fans that have known me for a while, and even some of the people I know in the game itself, were like, "Hey, you're a licensed ref. Hey, you're a licensed judge. What's going on here?" And I said, "Well, here's initially what I thought." And then I started making I started firing off some texts to some people at various commissions, some refs, and other people that are high up there. Unfortunately, I couldn't text John McCarthy because he's here. He wouldn't be able to answer me. But there have been some other people out there that I did speak with, and they just basically confirmed the same thing that I was mentioning on social media. Number one, New York needs instant replay. No ifs, ands, or buts. And number two, those knees were both legal. Okay, we saw that. They were not illegal, they were legal. The referee, Dan Murgliata, stopped the fight in error. It was clear if you saw an instant replay, he could have just said, okay, you know what, it was an error, keep going. So Chris Weidman was not allowed 5 minutes. The doctor was in the cage to assess Chris Weidman. He was in the cage to assess Chris Weidman because those are concussive blows. You want to make sure your fighter is safe or your fighter is okay. Technically, what should have happened is when they realized, or when Dan was told, hey, those knees were legal, Dan should have just turned around, asked the doctor to immediately leave the octagon and restart the fight. Now, Mark Ratner mentioned that you could restart the fight in the exact same position where it was. Yeah, you could probably do that, or you could just simply restart the fight. That's basically what should have happened. All the controversy and you hear the stuff that's happening on the audio and stuff like that. It is what it is, but the knees were legal. New York needs instant replay. Dana White said in the post-fight press conference that sometimes with New York it's a new commission. It's like going back to 2001. I think they said like that. So it's silly. The whole breast implant thing and Dana denying it. It's been a debacle here.
And what else would it be? First time 22 years in the city. It hasn't been in since UFC 7. And it just seems to be, from someone from the city, it just seems to be the norm around here. Nothing goes smoothly when it comes to anything big happening in the city of Buffalo. But Mousasi, in his post-fight press conference, he didn't pull any punches.
No.
He was as adamant as ever that he wants to be paid what he deserves. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else. He wants the money he's owed. He knows if you take him overseas, if you bring him to Holland and fight, he'll sell out an arena like Mark Hunt does in Australia. Dana White said that's something Mousasi doesn't do. Mousasi clearly doesn't agree. And it seems that we might be in for maybe kind of a, don't want to say dirty, but it seems like negotiations could get pretty messy over the next few months.
All negotiations pretty much, but this type of negotiation between these two parties could be a reality show. I think it'd be absolutely fantastic, to be honest, because Dana White was up here on this very day up here, and he basically said, look, Mousasi, I love Mousasi. I'm the one who wanted Mousasi here, but Mousasi, he's defeated all these guys like Mark Hunt and blah blah. But Mark Hunt sells out the whole country. He's got a whole country behind him. Conor McGregor's got a whole country behind him, and I get that. Mousasi then comes up here and he basically says, I've beaten Mark Hunt, I've beaten Chris Weidman, I've beaten this person, that person, this person, that person. Pay me what I'm worth. So you have the UFC basically, from a business perspective, saying, dude, you don't sell. And you have Mousasi saying, I've beaten all your guys and I can fight in all these different countries. You can bring me to every single country and I'll have a fan base. You want to go to Holland? I will sell out Holland. Or he didn't say I will sell out Holland. Holland will sell out. So, and if Chris Weidman wants a rematch, it happens in Holland because he fought Chris Weidman here. And like you said, Mousasi was on fire. He was dropping F-bombs like nonstop. And that was the conversation I had with him during media day this week. I said, you've always been a calm guy. You've never been a guy that rocks the boat. You're starting to embrace this almost villain role. It was I have no choice. The only way I'm going to get a title shot is if I talk shit. And he's doing it.
And I think his best comment was, what do you want? When he got my hair blonde, if I was a different nationality, would I be cheered? Would I be revered? And some might say he has a point. But moving on, you talked about Pearl Gonzalez, Cynthia Calvillo. Calvillo just looks like a star in the making in this division. Back-to-back pay-per-views, back-to-back wins. Dana White was up here glowing about her and saying that. He used her in the same sentence as Conor McGregor. That's high praise for somebody so new to the sport. Yeah,
he said Conor McGregor, you're right, and Ronda Rousey. I'm not convinced just yet on Cynthia. I do believe she's a gangster. She's a badass. I really like her personality. I really like what she's basically doing. Obviously Dana knows a thing or two more than all of us when it comes to fight promotion. But in my opinion, just not yet. But he sees something in her. UFC sees something in her, and don't be surprised. And one good thing about her, she's been on back-to-back pay-per-views. She's been on 2 pay-per-views. But I don't think the regular mainstream person knows who she is just yet, and that's what really makes a star. Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, George St. Pierre, Chael Sonnen of the world. These are people that crossed the MMA bubble or burst out of the bubble and got into the mainstream. So I'm sure with time she'll do it because she's a badass. There's something about her that I really like, that personality, that edge, right? But I disagree with Dana for now. Hopefully she does become a star because the more stars around mixed martial arts, the better it is for the fans and for the sport and for guys like yourself and myself.
And before the controversial ending to the middleweight bout, before the main event light heavyweight title, the big story of the night was Patrick Cote dropping his gloves in the ring after falling to Thiago Alves in what many feel was arguably the best fight of the night, despite not getting that.
Ridiculous.
They didn't get the bonus for fight of the night. Thiago Alves comes out on top, but the respect between those two competitors, the standing ovation Cote got, you can tell it brought him to tears just to see the reaction of the fan base that he's never fought in front of before. What did you take away from seeing that type of response from the crowd and just his reaction to arguably the biggest career decision of his life?
That I'm getting old. I called Cote's first 2 or 3 fights in TKO or UCC, then to TKO. So I've seen Patrick make his mixed martial arts debut. I was there for that one, and I'm here for his retirement. So it's bittersweet for me because I've known Patrick for a very long time. We've been to various cities around the world. We've shared a drink or two. We've swapped a variety of stories. He's a dad now, so he knows there's a big difference. I told him a long time ago, well, my son was born, life changes. When you have kids, life changes. It makes most guys better. Right, and I guess he's seeing it now. And he's fought for a long time, and he went out there with it on a shield, man. Patrick Cote is going to sit there and he will fight. He left here bloody, and that's how Patrick Cote was. I mean, this is a guy that stepped in on short notice to fight Tito Ortiz in his mixed martial arts debut. And this is a guy. He's a warrior. He's a predator. He always has been. And it's. We lose one predator, we gain one tonight in Desmond Green, right? So, same night from one to the other. But Patrick Cote, he deserves a standing ovation, and I wish him nothing but the best. And we'll see what happens. I'll do my best to keep in touch with him. I'm sure every time I go to Montreal, something will happen, or at least Quebec City, or who knows where that guy's going to be living soon. He's just got, he's a dad now, so life's going to slow down hopefully for him.
Overall, the night was full of excitement, it was newsworthy, to say the least. 2 retirements, controversial finish. But the main story comes out of it is Daniel Cormier is still the light heavyweight champion of the world. And John Jones' suspension still going on until July. But so the talk is, what's next for Cormier in that title? Where do you see if it's not Jones, then who?
Well, Jimmy Manuwa is the one name. But one thing that I mentioned on social media, if you pay attention to Daniel Cormier at the post-fight press conference, he can say all he wants about this John Jones and blah, blah, blah. I think he'll retire if he defeats John Jones. If he can fight John Jones again, beats him, he'll retire on the spot because that's all he needs to do in the sport. He's made it clear he's done everything but beat John Jones. He's said it on numerous occasions. He's done everything but defeated John Jones. And if you look at his body language, you listen to his tone, you look at the focus he had when he was answering that question to whichever media member was asking those questions, he would look them dead in the eye and made it clear that John Jones it's that kryptonite. It's something he's got to get over. But if that doesn't happen, because Dana White said, John Jones, and it was Daniel Cormier that hinted that Dana White or the UFC is likely going to give John Jones a turn fight. And that's what the Jimmy Manuwa thing really came up. So this is something he knew before the fight. And that's why he went after Jimmy Manuwa, because when Jimmy Manuwa was here. Why is Jimmy Manuwa here if he lives in England? He's going to spend his own money to come here to Buffalo?
Something's got to be in the works, yeah.
Okay, so, and John Jones' suspension happens to be in and around the time International Fight Week is. It comes to an end around that point there. So there's some method to the madness. I think it's risky, right? And you got Daniel Cormier saying, that he's going to demoralize Jimmy Manuwa, saying it'll happen, 10 minutes, and then he corrects himself. He's like, no, 7 minutes. And then again, he goes back after John Jones and his brother Arthur Jones, saying Arthur needed 2 chairs. So it goes back and forth. But Daniel Cormier will not leave this sport unless, like he said, you heard him. Like he basically said that if John Jones can't fight because he's just being John Jones and getting in trouble, getting all kinds of trouble, and all the different stuff he said about John Jones afterwards, I mean, it was let's just say not very nice, Daniel. But it is what it is. They've got a bad feud, and let them do what they got to do. But I'm almost leaning towards DC versus Jimmy Manuwa, and Dana White said that John Jones is not going to be a main event. He's going to be a co-main event. He doesn't trust them. And if that's the case, Daniel Cormier said what? Only if it's Conor McGregor and the headliner. So there's so much craziness happening that makes our job fun, and the fans can love it as well.
Nevertheless, there's plenty of excitement surrounding UFC 210, but it didn't stop the media from asking about a certain Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. It came up, nothing to do with tonight's event, But White said he sees the fight happening. And then he called the 80-20 rumors bullshit. He had a few other choice words. Not worth kind of heavy, yeah. But that fight, it just seems to be on the up and up, and it's going to happen.
I always said from day one the fight will never take place until Dana White one day stated, I forgot what he said, but exactly the way he verbalized it. But I flipped. That's when I flipped. I said this fight's happening because they realized, the UFC realized, especially the new ownership, that this fight can make money and the UFC can get involved because they can rep Conor McGregor based on the contract that they have with Conor McGregor. So this fight, and he said again, it's likely going to happen. The hints, I heard June, not going to happen in June. September is the date that people are circling on the calendars right now. So yeah, it could be interesting to see when and where and how it all goes down, because you got a lot of guys on Floyd's side that the UFC would have to deal with. Obviously, there would have to be a Showtime or HBO situation. There's going to be a venue selected. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Floyd is contracted to the MGM, while the UFC is contracted to T-Mobile Arena. If not contracted to T-Mobile Arena, but they have to have so many events there. So it's not going to be a UFC event. It's going to be a boxing event. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all gets, sort of shakes out. But it looks like this is going to happen, and Dana's giving us all a bit more hints as we move forward. And of course, he attacked Bob Arum verbally again. I mean, I've got, from the old days, I've got all kinds of clips of Dana doing that, so it's funny.
But no matter what happens, UFC 210 will be remembered as the night Rumble Johnson hung it up, Cote hung it up, Weidman, Mousasi ended in controversial fashion. But it doesn't take away from the fun we've had all week long here for Fightful.com. Mike Straw, Showdown Joe. You can follow him on all social media at Showdown Joe. Myself at Mike Straw Media. Until next time, from UFC 210, this is Fightful MMA. Thank you.